She adopted a silent baby. 19 years later, she found out who he really was. Margaret Hayes had always been known as the quiet woman on the corner of Elm Street, the one who fed stray cats, brought lemon tarts to every bake sale, and kept her rose garden perfect, season after season, even after her husband passed. She lived alone in a cozy two-bedroom cottage on the edge of town, surrounded by books and silence. The quiet had once been her comfort, but one October morning, it began to feel like a weight. She sat at her kitchen table, staring at the empty chair across from her. For minutes, maybe hours. Then, without a plan, she put on her coat, grabbed her keys, and left the house. Something inside her moved her feet toward the city orphanage. She hadn't been there in years, not since volunteering one Christmas. But the moment she stepped through the gates, a strange pull gripped her chest. Call it fate, or maybe something deeper. The rooms inside buzzed with noise, children laughing, babies crying, volunteers hurrying between tasks. Then she saw him. A baby boy sat silently in a bassinet near the window. His hoodie was too big, slipping off one tiny shoulder. His skin was dark, smooth, and flawless, but it was his eyes that stopped her. Icy blue, clear as winter glass. She stepped closer. A cloth bracelet clung to his wrist, threadbare, with two faded letters stitched in uneven thread. Ka. What's his name? She asked a nearby worker. No name on record, the woman replied. Left here 2 weeks ago. No ID, no papers. Probably another border case. Happens more than you'd think. Has anyone tried adopting him? The staff member shook her head. Not possible. Not yet. He's a ghost in the system. Margaret didn't hesitate. I'll take him. It took months. Endless paperwork, court dates, and special permissions. But she never gave up. She named him Cairo. And when she brought him home, holding his tiny body against her chest, she felt something shift inside her. Cairo was different from the start. He rarely cried. Seldom got sick. By 2, he could mimic any sound he heard. By 5, he was reading labels and memorizing maps. By 7, he was fixing Margaret's toaster like he'd done it 100 times before. But there was something else. Cairo sometimes spoke in his sleep, strange, melodic words. Not gibberish. A language. One night, he whispered the same phrase over and over, Kafiro Alma. Margaret recorded it and sent the clip to a linguistics professor. The reply shocked her. It resembles a nearly extinct African dialect, he said. Coastal, rare, sacred. When Margaret asked Cairo where he'd learned it, he only shrugged. I don't know. It's just in me. At 10, he began asking the hard questions. Where am I from? Why are my eyes different? What does my bracelet mean? Margaret told him what little she knew, but she made a promise. If you ever want to find out more, I'll help you. He nodded, but instead of searching, he studied that he devoured books on history, cryptography, politics, identity. By 17, he was coding secure systems for nonprofits. He never stopped learning, and he never took off that bracelet. One winter, everything changed. Cairo was scanning archived immigration files when he spotted a symbol, faint, nearly invisible, on a document from 2001. It matched the tiny emblem etched into the plastic bead of his bracelet. The symbol belonged to an old organization, the Kadura Initiative, long defunct, once tied to a political figure from a West African nation called Vantera. His name, Kamari Ayatu, the initials Ka. Cairo's hands trembled. He ran facial recognition software, uploading a childhood photo of himself beside an old image of Kamari at a 0.92% genetic match. Kamari had vanished after a failed coup. rumored dead. But whispers remained. Before the collapse, he had hidden his infant son. That child had never been found until now. That night, Cairo was quiet at dinner. Margaret asked gently, "Everything all right, love?" He held up the bracelet. "This isn't just a keepsake. It's a key." Margaret's breath caught in her chest. She didn't know what Cairo had uncovered yet, but something told her it was monumental. The next morning, with her full support, they flew to Geneva to meet with an international records investigator. Deep in a sealed archive, a tech expert scanned the bracelet's central bead. There, hidden under layers of plastic, was a microchip, encrypted. "Can you crack it?" Cairo asked. The expert smiled. "You wrote half the software we're using. Let's find out." 2 hours later, the encryption broke. Inside, scanned birth certificates, escape routes, handwritten letters, and one grainy video from 2004 that a man appeared on screen. Fierce eyes, steady voice. Kamari Ayatu, holding a baby in his arms. "If this message is found, the initiative failed. They'll call me corrupt. But I try to save my country from the vultures. This child, my son, is my legacy. He will never know me. But if peace ever returns, he must help rebuild." Cairo sat frozen. The bracelet he'd worn his entire life wasn't just a memory that IT was a responsibility. The files contained offshore accounts. Humanitarian fund Kamari had hidden from warlords and governments alike. The access was tied to biometric DNA. His son's. Cairo, he called Margaret. "I don't know what to do with this. It's a lot." She didn't miss a beat. "You were never too much for me," she said softly. "And if your father believed you were the key, maybe he knew you'd use it better than he ever could." Cairo didn't seek power. He didn't chase a throne. Instead, he launched a global nonprofit under a new name that he used the hidden funds to build water systems, schools, and technology centers. First in Vantera, then across Africa. And beyond, journalists speculated about the mysterious benefactor, but his identity remained hidden. One afternoon, Cairo came home and found Margaret on the porch, sipping tea. She smiled. "I saw the news today. Anonymous donor rebuilds hospital in Cairo province." He chuckled. "I like that one. But you're still my boy, right?" He leaned his head on her shoulder, always. Later that year, Cairo was invited to speak, anonymously, at UN Youth Summit. Wearing a plain suit, behind a frosted panel, he said, "I was raised by someone who never asked where I came from before deciding I mattered that I stand here, because one person didn't see a mistake, but a beginning." Applause echoed across the hall. Backstage, a UN official approached. You could meet with Vantara's new leaders, maybe even run for office. Cairo smiled gently. "I'm not here to rule. I'm here to plant." That night, he returned home. Margaret was knitting a sweater for the neighbor's newborn. She looked up. "You were amazing," she said, having watched the speech. "You watched?" "Always." They sat by the fireplace, sipping cocoa, saying nothing, needing nothing. And somewhere far away, a tree planted in Cairo's name bloomed, its roots deep, its branches wide. Cairo smiled, not for the past, but for every future he could help grow. If you enjoyed this story, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more emotional, dramatic, and uplifting stories. And tell us, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.